This week, I realized that most of us weren't taught how to listen to ourselves. We were taught how to listen to everything outside of us. And I think that's part of why we get talked out of our own knowing. So let's talk about it. You're listening to the Candid Coaching Podcast. Hi, friend. I'm Candi, your friendly hypnotherapist. And this space is all about real talk, real change, and real healing through awareness of the mind-body connection. So we've been trained in our society to, and I'm talking from America, I live in America, to pay attention and trust what we can see, what we can hear. And that can lead us to many problems because there's another source of information that we are ignoring. So when we go by what we see and what we hear, people can appear one way and be very different. They can sound confident, or, if they say something in a certain voice, we are programmed to respond to that confidence. I've noticed that like a white male voice carries more weight to my subconscious. It does something until we reprogram it. But I did notice that was something that I was experiencing. Like if a man said it, I was more likely, and it really didn't have to be, they didn't have to be white. It was just really if a man said it, to be honest. I didn't notice that there was a difference between it, like if they weren't white, but it was a male voice. A male voice carried more authority. And now that doesn't mean I'm bad. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with me. It means I've been programmed a certain way. And I got to do some reprogramming if I want to change that, which I absolutely do. And I have been working on it. So that means I'll listen to women in authority talking about things, but I also don't want to blindly believe what anybody says. I want to listen to what they're saying. And I want to listen to how my body feels about it. So the other source of information that we're kind of taught to distrust is your bodily signals, emotional shifts, just a subtle hesitation or an ease internally. Maybe something feels off or it feels right, and yet your head's saying it's wrong. These are times where you need to slow down and pay attention. This isn't mystical stuff. This isn't woo. This is data, because your body is picking up on patterns before your conscious mind is able to. Your subconscious is picking it up because it is recording constantly. It can process information in the millions when your conscious mind can only process like seven pieces of information at once. So the nervous system is constantly scanning your environment for safety, for alignment, and sensations will show up in your body before the thoughts come. You might get a gut feeling that something's off. Your stomach might do something. And you would, if you're not trained to pay attention to it, if you've been programmed to ignore it, you're just going to keep going ahead. But your gut is saying, don't do it. And we've all been there. We've noticed things like, this is why people would say, I should have listened to my gut, or, just phrases like that, where they didn't listen to that intuition. They felt something was off, but they ignored it and then, paid the price. Or it can also mean that you feel something is off because the programming told you that someone was bad. So in this case, I was raised in evangelical Christianity. So I was programmed to see anybody who wasn't a Christian as threatening, as someone who was going to try to lead me astray from the truth, right? And so I might go into a situation, let's say in college, with a professor who teaches evolution, and I get in a room with them and I feel threatened. I feel like my nervous system is saying, this isn't good. Is that true? No, not necessarily. It's because I've got a program running. So we do need to listen to that intuition, but that's where we get curious and we kind of do a little more digging. But the thing we've been taught is to ignore it, ignore those signals, because a lot of times they are telling us the truth. Now, when it's not lying to us, like in in the example of the uh, college professor, it wouldn't be lying to me. What it would be doing is something's familiar here that's threatening, and it's been programmed to think that way. So that is where my conscious mind would have to come in and understand, I have been programmed to be afraid of this person, but now I'm face to face with them and I have to make a decision whether that's true or not based on this person in front of me. So, or maybe somebody has a familiar trait of somewhere, like a physical traits, or they're doing something in an environment, or you're in an environment that you had a unpleasant situation happen where you felt unsafe. Well, your nervous system remembers that. So you might feel anxious when you enter a certain building and maybe you don't know why. And it's because of a past experience. Something there got programmed. And so that's when you get curious and you work through that. But my point today is that we've really been trained to ignore that system altogether. Like someone, if they speak confidently, we'd believe them almost right off the bat. Authority, people in authority, just obey authority, obey a police officer. You don't want to just blindly obey anybody. You want to think, you want to listen to your gut, because it is people in power, people in positions of authority that have led people into terrible situations, or, have intended to harm them themselves. So we want to learn how to listen to these inner signals. People are easily swayed by just persuasive language, or put a little urgency, a little pressure on them. These are tactics that are taught in marketing. As I'm learning to market my business, there's some slimy stuff that people do. And I don't know if I want to call it slimy. I don't know. They use it because it works to get people into their business. Now, if you have something of quality to share, is that make it okay to do it? I don't know. And something these people need, I don't know. I just find marketing, the whole thing I don't like it. But I'm learning how to do it in a way I want to do it in a way that feels good to me. And some of that just feels gross. And I don't like it. So I'm going to listen to my intuition there, but I've also been, I don't know. That's all a side note. So let's move on. So what happens is the words that someone says kind of hit your thinking brain, but your intuition is not listening for words. It speaks through sensations, and sensation in the body is quieter than language. So it's easier to hear. So we have to first of all be aware that we have this internal guidance system, and then we have to learn how to listen to it. And if you're never taught to pause when someone asks you something, to pause and check inside with yourself, you will default to that loudest noise, which is the language. So think about that the next time somebody asks you to do something. Pause and say, do I really want to? And see what your body is saying. And this isn't like, I don't want you to feel like you're getting blamed. This isn't a personal failure. It's a learned pattern. These are learned. All of us have these. And a lot of times we talk ourselves out of intuition. We think it's woo or mystical or something. It's not. It's just your nervous system. And everybody has one. And we're given it. It helps us get around in the world if we can listen to it. It can be very powerful. So something I would like you to kind of try is just this pause, notice, and check. When someone asks you to do something, just stop. Don't analyze what they're asking. Just pause. And notice as that question, whatever they're asking, think on it for a minute, and then ask yourself, what do I feel in my body right now? Is it tightening or opening? A tightening is a closing, a no. An opening is a yes. But you got to get real good at paying attention to these, and it comes with practice. That's the only way to get good at knowing your own cues. A heaviness might be a no, and a lightness might be a yes. Contraction might be a no. There's hesitant, there's resistance. An expansion might be a yes. A feeling rushed, like I got to make a decision right now, might be a no, but a steady calmness might be a yes. Now, your yeses aren't yes to everything. Could be yes to part of it. And your no is not no to everything. It could be no to part of it. So that's when you kind of ask yourself, what is it saying? What do I not want? Is there some conditions I could add to this request made by somebody else? Or is there something else I need? You don't have you're not judging this. You're not trying to interpret. You're trying to listen to what the body is saying and see if you can find what works. So you can ask yourself a neutral question and then kind of say to yourself, if I move forward with this, does my body soften or does it tighten? And you're going to make mistakes. You're going to misread it because you're learning and you've been taught over years, decades even, to ignore it. And this is about listening to what the body is saying, not letting it run your life. It's so that you can let it have a voice too. It's weighing in, just like your eyes weigh in with some information. They bring some information in. Your ears bring in some information. Your body is giving information. So just start with low stake decisions. Don't do this on big life decisions right now. You are not ready for that. And then kind of track the outcomes. Did you follow what you thought was a yes, or did you follow what you thought was a no? Do you feel like that was the right decision after a while? And just track. And maybe you get it wrong sometimes, and then you learn from that, and then you try again. So try saying yes versus a no to a small request. See what the body does between two low risk options. Choose something. They're both, it's not going to, do I want peanut butter and jelly or do I want a meat and cheese sandwich? Ask yourself that. Which one does your body feel? Is it giving a cue of more openness to? Try it there. Just noticing how your body feels after you make that decision. I know I've had times where I knew I need to do something big. Like I need to have a big conversation with somebody maybe. And I kept putting it off. And then when I finally do, it just feels like a huge weight is lifted. Or when you finally make a decision that you know you've needed to make, maybe even for years, and you finally make that decision, it just feels like a huge burden because your nervous system is like, I can let go of that. I can relax. So it's not the boss. It's also not something to ignore. It's something to offer information. Your nervous system is constantly communicating with you. So I'm still learning this. I use this in my daily life, in my work life, and sometimes I get it wrong. I don't listen to it because I feel rushed or I fear something else. But being aware of it is the first step, and being consistent is more important than being perfect at this. You will not be perfect at it. You're going to make mistakes, and that just proves you are trying. You are on that path. I'm still learning it myself, and I don't get it right every time, but I do practice this, and I trust myself way more than I ever did. And I'm calmer with my decisions. I know why I'm making decisions. I don't feel pressured into them. I make them, and sometimes people don't like them. It has cost me relationships sometimes with certain decisions that I've made. But if someone wants to control my decisions, then I can't be in a relationship with them because I don't want to be controlled by anybody, nor do I want to control anyone. So keep that in mind as you go through it. I will share things when I can here. And remember, this podcast is for educational purposes only. I'm not a medical professional. It's not medical or mental health advice. Transformation isn't about perfection, even in this area. It's about awareness, curiosity, and practice with a dash of courage. And remember, real change starts with one small step, and you don't have to take it alone.